y'all, what's up? I hope y'all are doing okay. I have been gone for a minute. I've been watching it. I watched last week and the week before on Thursday. It's been a lot going on. A little overwhelmed. On top of other things. And my hair is being a mess. I had a twist. I twisted them out. I washed them and twisted it out. This is what it looks like, but I'm probably straightening it again. Anyways, so I got 3 weeks of Raw to catch up with y'all on. I didn't even watch SmackDown last week because I was at work. I work for a staffing event company, so we get hired by people that are having huge events to do sometimes simple stuff like coat check or bussing tables, and then sometimes we get tasked with setting up bartending, serving, help with decorating, breaking down, all the things. We don't cook, and as far as I know, we don't valet. They normally have their own people for that, but like everything else. So like this weekend has been grand openings of like retirements and then alumni stuff, and then next week is like graduation stuff. So I got stuff for that, and then this weekend is a wedding. I'm only doing Saturday, which I forgot it was Backlash this Saturday because to me, I miss Friday, and Backlash to me seemed kind of dry. No shade. Until I saw the 5 matches that's happening. So based on the matches that I just saw today, because at first I was like, the only one that seems interesting is the Cena and Randy, which I was not a fan of when they originally did the rivalry, like I mentioned before, because to me it was like they were using the same play, trying to use the same playbook from The Rock and Stone Cold, because he's the Viper and Stone Cold's the Rattlesnake, and then Rock's the People Champion, and they try to make Cena like that, but his own version, and I was like, I can't get with it. Excuse me. But I'm excited for that because it's their last time. I'm excited for the Gunther Pat one, because that's just gonna be interesting. Even though I know the outcome, it's still gonna be interesting. And then I saw the Fatal 4-Way one. I said, oh, y'all know I'm here. Y'all know I'm here for Jacob, okay? Drew cracks me up. Damien, the Street King, and LA Knight is just LA from Maryland. And then Lyra versus Becky grew on me. So to me, it's not I don't know which one I'm more excited to see. To be honest, the most one I'm excited to see is Pat and Gunther, only because Pat is not a trained wrestler. Like he's not someone that's like a Braun or a Lash that came from the NFL to WNBA and then became an announcer, or a wrestler and then became an announcer. Like he's done some wrestling stuff. I wonder what his ranking would be. Would he be above or below like Stephen Amell? Because Stephen's done the show Heels, and then in between him shooting like Ninja Turtles and Arrow, he's done a match on WWE. I think he's done a match on AEW. I think he's done a match on ROH. I think the only one he hasn't done a match on is TNA. And I was like, if it was a Celebrity Hall of Fame just for wrestling, not WWE, but I know they have a wrestling Hall of Fame that's not wrestlers but have wrestled, he need to be in that because he's good. You know who I want to see in the ring based off of the previews? Zac Efron. I'm getting away from what I was saying. Okay, so I'm trying to decide if I want to do one really long Raw, or if I want to break this up in 3s, because people's attention span is short. Okay, I'm gonna go with tonight's. So I got I think I'm gonna start because in between the 3 weeks and then me watching stuff like that, I've seen the Bellas podcast with Nanny, Trinity, and Lena. I've seen part of Impulsive with Paul Heyman, I think from last year. I've seen snippets of Chris Flamvleet's thing with Rhea's husband. I forgot that man's name because I wasn't watching when he was wrestling, so I don't know his name. I seen Karrion Kross' documentary. I seen the Bloodlines from Stephanie Places and Charlotte. Something else I saw. I don't know. Then of course the releases. So let me start with the 20. Today's what? Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is holiday time. Holiday time. If you watch Girlfriends or have watched Girlfriends in the past, you know what I'm talking about. Because Joan, every holiday, she goes to a retirement place or something and dresses up for a holiday or event. It's hilarious. And ironically, I saw her on the Met Gala shows. I'm upset that even though they had track stars, they had influencers, they had actors and actresses, they had singers, they had people in the WNBA and NBA, they had I'm trying to think, is that everybody? They had tennis people. Okay. They didn't have, that I'm aware of, any people play golf. Okay. Because they got a little following. Okay. They had retired NBA players because they had Dwayne and Gabrielle there. LeBron was supposed to go, but his knees messed up, but Savannah went. They had NFL players because they had Russell and Sierra. But why ain't y'all ask no golf people? I don't even watch golf, but still, okay. And why ain't y'all ask nobody from WWE? First of all, the black people, it's black. It was called dantyism, black dantyism, like how we used to dress for the nines from the 1800s to like the 1920s, right? All the black people would have killed this, okay? But the two people that came to mind, and one of them not even black, but his designer is black, his stylist is black. Montez Ford, off the rip, that was the first person that y'all, and he's a champion. Y'all should have had him and his dantyism stuff with his belt on his thing, with the cane rocket. He dressed like that half the time anyway. Hell, y'all could have flew him out to New York and had Bianca right by his side. Okay, shoot. And this time, because of black dantyism and black men were the concept behind, 4 black men were the concept behind it, it would have been his night with her by his side versus the other way around. The other person that came to my mind, but they on Monday nights, was Seth. Like, Troy would have ate his look up, okay? Like, I'd be looking forward to what he watching wearing on Monday. And low key, I don't even think Troy was there today, only because I know Troy has other clients that he's dressed before, and he's probably in New York. So, because what Seth had on for his look today is a bit of look he's already worn. That's how I know. So he probably called him or video chatted and was like, "What you want me to wear in this closet?" And he told him to wear that. I know. Okay. But so if today is the 5th, 7 days before that was April 28th, right? So before that was April 21st, which was the day after second night of WrestleMania. Yep, I'm right. Okay, I do numbers before. I'm real math geeky. So 3 weeks ago, Raw started with John Cena talking about him being the last real champion. I'm going to run through this real quick because I'm trying to get, everything. The last real champion, and saying all this other things. I think that what he said he had to say, which I was surprised he was on. I know it's the Raw after WrestleMania, but I'm like, you won the SmackDown championship. You shouldn't even be on Raw, but I understand it because they had Cody on Raw after he won, and then I was like, well, it's obvious where he going because he got the championship. Roman used to have Roman's on SmackDown, so he was saying all this stuff. Randy had crept up behind him and gave him the RKO, right? Then we had a replay, Pete, of Crazy&Cool, which is Liv and Raquel, versus the Irish Connection, Becky and Lyra. Crazy&Cool ended up winning, making them a historic fourth-time women's championship. Champions, never been done. After that, Becky would act like she was going to console Lyra and end up attacking her, and people start booing. Then we had the New Day versus the Alpha Babes. I call them Alpha Babes because that's the shirts they wear. I don't even know why we still call them Alpha Academy. I don't know why they still have on their music, it says Alpha Academy on their music when they got Alpha Babes on their shirts. Like, if they're going to be Alpha Academy, make them get Alpha Academy. Don't have them have no Alpha Babe shirts on and then their background say Alpha Academy. Change the background to Alpha Babes, okay? Because for one, is nobody there to run the academy. So why would they still be named that? Like, the person that ran it is in a whole nother faction. Number two, if that's the name Maxine came up with, just like she came up with Dungeon Dolls with her Natalia, keep it that. Y'all already got the shirts. Just change it to Alpha Babes, have it the font, y'all got the shirts, and then keep the music the same. Or spice up the music, okay? So New Day was supposed to fight Alpha Babes, and then the screen went black, and we was like, oh, who the hell is that? Rusev. So I thought Rusev was coming out WrestleMania because, I don't know if I can't remember if I follow Lana, or if she just so happened to show up on my timeline because, it's WrestleMania, and then everybody be showing up. Because sometimes even wrestlers on there that show up on that timeline on Twitter, I don't even follow. And then I have to go on their page and be like, do I follow them? And I'll be like, no. Or I'll mention them in a tweet and then they'll show up on my timeline like, I'm not following you. Like, I like you, but I'm not enough to follow you, see what's going on and what is going on with my curls. But yeah, let me just do this. I'm about to do that. But yeah, so Rusev come out and attacks Otis. So then Iyo and Stephanie comes out. So Stephanie comes out looking like a blue Maleficent. Iyo first comes out and talks about she's the women's world champion. Da, 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 da. So her and Stephanie have a match, very good match. So then Roxanne come out and attacks her slowly. No, she attacks her and it was like, oh, it's an attack from Roxanne. I said from the angle, from the back that they showed it, instead of switching the angle, switching the angle so we can see Roxanne's face. I know they wanted to see Io's face do like this, but I'm like, she attacked her slow, or Iyo went down slow. It was one of the two. So then after that, and the outside, it was Julia, who has the blue braids. The braids look good on her. And both of them end up attacking Stephanie and Iyo. So the match ends up ending. And then I can't remember. So Rhea comes out. And when I saw Rhea, I was like, did she come up out the makeup chair? Because she had half of her face, like most of her face was done except for this part. And then they showed it up close. I said, oh, she got a cut or style is healing. You know what I'm saying? So she comes out, she attacks them, they walk off, and then she hands Iyo the championship, and she be like, I'm coming for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got you this time, but I'm coming for this. So, then after that, we have the celebration with Jey. Jey comes out, and it says, World Heavy Champion. His shirt says, I think he has the Yeet chain on. He comes out and does his thing. Before he says yes, before he comes out, I think they have a whole video of him, which was the cutest thing. And then he comes out. I wonder if his baby had off that Monday, but they still in Vegas, so he can't fly out by himself. Not unless, well, technically he can if he like 13. He just has to sit in the back with the attendant. But like for him winning that title, I wish his baby was there with him to be in the ring with him. And he came out. So then in the middle of that, Sammy's music came back on. I lost it. Okay, Sammy has such a feel good song. Like, to me, it gives me all the feels of like positive vibes and positivity. It's one of those, his song could be very much like, how when you look at like an old 90s show and it gives you like the theme songs used to be everything, and certain theme songs hit, and as soon as you hear certain theme songs from certain shows, you automatically get like a happy feeling of nostalgia or something like that. That's exactly what Sammy's song does to me. It's like, I don't know who came up with the production for that, but good job, okay? Because I love it. I love it. And I'm like, it's something simple. And I be like, in the singing, I don't know who started the chants and stuff like that for him, but it's like everything. And he came out, he celebrated Jey. And then they start eating and stuff. And then, and then he started dancing, which I miss seeing him do that. Because I used to crack up. Like when he was in the Bloodline, Roman's song would be playing, as slow as it is. And he would be dancing. And I'd be like, what is happening? The same thing with Asuka. Like when Bianca's song or somebody come on, you would see her on the side dancing. I'd be cracking up. I miss watching both of them dance. I wonder if you get injured, your contract, if you get injured WWE, do you get paid while you injured, or do you have to use what they paid you to live off the salary that they had already paid you? Anyways, because like being out for like 9 months, 10 months, that's a long time. But I don't think you should get like all your salary you injured. It should be like a regular business where if you get short-term disability and if you pay more on your check, on a regular business, if you pay more on your check, so like short-term disability, most of the time, most companies will give you 40 to 60%, and if you pay more on your check, you can get like 80 to 100, depending on your when they take out money every week, depending on the company. So I wonder if it's like that. Because if it's like that, then for me, I'm 1,000% paying for the short. I'm opting in for the short-term disability. I'm 1,000% paying for the 100%. Take out money on my check every week, because 9 times out of 10, I know I'm getting hurt. And as clumsy as I am, I thank God every day I ain't never had no broken bone. I'm trying to figure it out. It had to be in God's angels be like, nope. Because I swear to God, I used to drip off air. I'd be walking and trip. And I'm like, and there'll be nothing on the ground. So like me being a wrestler, okay, my knee is the only thing I've done to myself. And that was 13 years ago. And it's just now, like it hurt at the beginning. And it hurt like 2-3 years ago. And it will go away with like ice or ibuprofen or something. This is the first time it's like hurt consistently. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's coming with age. But yeah, so he comes out, they start dancing stuff. Then he gives his look. So to me, I'm a little worried because I'm like, I hope he not trying to. I hope he ain't about to betray Jey. So as soon as he gives the look and they're about to like head off, like they're about to go, Jimmy's music comes out. The pop Jimmy gets in Vegas. Okay. I'm here for it. Remember when they first went their separate ways and Jimmy's music would come on and nobody knew who it was? For me, it takes a while to know anybody's name. Okay. That's me personally. But nobody knew what anybody's song was. So my son is such a fan of the Usos. And when they first went their separate ways, we had Spotify at the time. And we listened to both of them. I had plugged it up to the speaker. Of course, Jay's easier to get. And I was like, I don't know if I like his or the old version better at the time. And then Jimmy's, I was like, I don't know what the hell he's saying. And then when Kofi had tweeted and was like, Jimmy's new song go hard. So I had to literally plug in and attach to a speaker just to hear like the bass and the words and stuff. Because I'm like, I don't know what the hell be going on. I just hear, ooh, so, boo. And then that's it. And I'm like, because the crowd be so loud. They either be booing. I think at the time they was booing. So I'm like, I don't know what he be saying. But he now people recognize his music. And so he came out. He He celebrated his brother, and then they did the yeet, of course. I said I like his two braids. If Trent did those, she did good. 9 times out of 10, she did those. She did good. Um, I feel like part of her is me, and part of me is her. Like in a sense, because I'm like some of the same stuff, and I guess because we're the same age, I mean like the interest and stuff and stuff like your family, how you doing, and how you, I like it's weird, but not on no stalker type stuff, but like some of the same stuff. Like when she had some video, I think when she was in TNA, and how she went to her visit her, like I think grandma, and she was doing like her cousins and stuff hair and all the things, and I was like, that is me. Cause probably like my mama had me. I be spending like, oh, can you do? Like, when did I become the cosmetologist? Okay, even though I went to hair school, but I was like, that's not my job. I love y'all, but sometimes I just want to chill. So, yeah. So they come out the ring. You know, Jimmy does his little breakdance thing that they had got the reel of him on WWE. He started doing it again. And what's crazy is when they walked out, I'm a fan of Kevin on stage. I follow him on all social platforms. And he was in the back. And it's so funny because I said, is that his son? And then he tweeted like some weeks ago, telling my son, I'm a cool dad because I got us the closest we ever been. And it showed his son. And I think like his son had held out his hand. I think Jimmy like gave him a high five or something like that. And I'm like, it's so cool to have a son that's 18 or 19. Because he has one that's like 18 and one that's like 16. And his wife. And I'm like, the one thing they enjoy as a family is WWE. Like, I think that's the coolest thing. I think it's cool, even if it's not WWE, I think it's cool that you as a family, whether it's two of y'all, like a mom and a child, or a dad and a child, or if it's you and your spouse and y'all don't have kids, like y'all enjoy something together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's rare. Like, nowadays, people are weird. Like, they'll break up with you if you have different interests and expect y'all to like everything the same. And that's weird. But, to enjoy something together is like, no. I think for my family, we used to have, I think we used to do board games. I think once every week or week and a half, we used to play games like Yahtzee, categories. More so my mom than my dad, because my dad worked crazy hours as a restaurant manager. But like, Uno, stuff like that. So whatever. Yeah. So then, and then when Sammy came out, I saw him in the polo, and I said, "Hold the hell on now." I was like, I've never seen him look like this put together, and I was like, I think it's because I'm so used to him when he does wrestle. He normally has on like a t-shirt and some jeans, or a t-shirt and some pants, or he has on like a t-shirt and his gear pants already. So it's like to see him in like pants and polo threw me a little bit. It threw me. So, but I was like, it looked nice. And then, when then they show the famous people and stuff like that. They show the women from the WNBA, Vegas Aces. They got the names mixed up. Okay, production. You need to figure out. Be like, hey, what's your names? They got the names right and spelled them right. But I'm like, where you gonna sit? Where you gonna sit? Because they had the girls' names swapped and they sat on opposite seats. So then they went to like Kathy Kelly asking Logan Paul about him winning and how he needed help to win. And Logan was like, what you mean? Like, a win is a win. And stuff like that. And this, to me, Logan Paul is hilarious as hell. Only because, like I mentioned, on night 2 of WrestleMania, like, I watched him on my algorithm on a positive enough to know when he switches. When he switches the heel and him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a couple people that I could watch, and you can tell. First of all, their demeanor in their face. If you really observe it, the demeanor in certain people's faces change when they go from their persona to who they are. And then also like even their tone and stuff changed. So like when he was talking to Kathy, he was definitely like the heel WWE Logan, stuff like that. And I was like, I had just watched his vlog on it last week, the week before that. Um, but just like with Roman. So like when Roman had last did a PLE and they had a conference, and he was there with Paul, and he was definitely in Roman thing, you know, da 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 whatever whatever. And then when they asked him about his health, demeanor changed. Immediately switched to Joe. Like, and then after he asked like one or two questions about that, immediately went back to Roman. Like his voice got huskier, his demeanor changed, all the things. So I was like, if you watch it enough and you pay attention to people close enough, you can tell the difference. Like you can tell. Um. So then Jackie asked about AJ and how he felt losing to Logan, and he didn't discuss the win. And I said, oh, but the first thing I noticed was I said, what is on AJ's cheek? And I said, oh snap! I said he really got a metal hand, because I was like, is that from when he got punched in the cheek? I was like, is that? Because I'm like, that's crazy. Like the still, I know it was the day before, but to still have that mark like that, like how long a regular punch lasts? I don't know. I ain't never got punched in my face. I've never gotten punched in my face. I don't think, no. I think I became close in like elementary school, but I've never got punched because I used to fight a lot when I was younger in elementary school, but I've never got punched in my face. So, I don't know. I punch people in their face, but I've never got punched in mine. But, I was like, that's crazy. So then Karrion comes out, and you know the pop he gets is crazy. People love him. And I didn't know that Vegas was his hometown, because you know they say he's from New York. So I don't know how long he spent in New York, or if he was just born there and then raised in Vegas. Because on his blog, he was saying that his cousin is there and that his grandma I think is there. He was like, I got family here. So I'm like, how long he been from? Like he been living here? It's a lot of superstars and celebrities unbeknownst to me that I knew that moved to Vegas. Like Mark Wahlberg had moved from LA to Vegas because it's cheaper. I know Ricochet and Stephanie lived there. John Moxley and Renee doing Total Divas had lived there. I don't know if they still live there. It's some other people. My brain just went blank. The girl from Housewives in New Jersey lived there. I got some friends that stay there I went to school with. But I don't know. The only thing about living there is I don't know if I could live somewhere. I'm so used to living on the East Coast that I don't know if I could live somewhere that's boxed in with other states. Only because if our water supply in which they say the Hoover Dam is getting lower by the day, what y'all gonna do? Like, at least me being, even though I don't like where I live at, okay? At least if I drive an hour and some change, I could get to the ocean. Like, if worst come to worst and I need some water, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I lived in the DC area, we had the Potomac River. Then if you drive out far enough, you have the Chesapeake Bay. And if you drive out further enough, you can get to the Pacific Ocean. I mean, not Pacific. The Atlantic Ocean. Like, we had some water. Okay? Like, I lived in Florida. No said. When I lived in that Tennessee, it was weird. They just had a lot of man-made lakes. But it was weird. And here in North Carolina, they got a lot of rivers and stuff, but he was talking to Alan. I'm calling because that's what he called him, and he said, he was like, I'm trying to figure out why you let Logan Paul win, and he was like, what you mean? And he said, this is what I mean. He said, you are the best of us. He said, you literally legitimized him. And then he was like, by him beating you. And I had to sit there and think about it, because at first I was like, I don't care what the hell Karrion say from now on, okay? I just know that whether it's now or looking back like 3 months from now, And looking back on like this moment, this nigga is right. Okay. So I just be like, yep. So when he said that, first of all, I had to sit back and think about it. And I said, you know what? He sure did. He sure did. Because when he kept saying, do it on Raw, and I was like, he sure did legitimize the hell out of him. Because I was sitting there and thinking about it. Because remember a couple weeks ago, even when you mentioned TNA, like to this day with old wrestlers, and you mentioned like, even like, not even old wrestlers, I meet on Twitter, and his name comes up often because they talk about Tama Tonga and his brothers and them, and then they be like, if they all get a one brand, Finn and AJ, and then we could have God. And then they be like, oh, that was a legacy, you know. But even the IWC be like, just AJ alone at TNA was a legend. Like he was one, he changed the game, or he was one of the key factors that changed the game. Even what listening to or reading like tweets from wrestlers or listening to podcasts with them, I'd be like, they say it. So when he said that, which I already had knew this from a couple weeks ago, because I was like, oh, AJ was like that in TNA, because hold on. Because they was like, when did you start watching? I remember TNA when they had everybody on there. Shane Helms, Hulk Hogan, Mick Foley. Like they had old people from WWE on there. And at the time, I think I was switching back and forth. So it was a glance. Like I wasn't tuned in. But I think AJ had shorter hair, and I think he was a world champion there. But I never caught his matches, so I had to like, let me go see some of these matches. This man is a TNA legend. Like I said, if they do TNA Hall of Fame, even though he's still active on the WWE roster, let Triple H allow this man to go get his Hall of Fame, whatever. I don't know if it's a ring or a certificate. Let him go get that, okay? And then let him do, because he did change the game, okay? Because I was like, he sure did. And I said, because I'm like, he's the only person that still wrestles and is active. One of the only people that's still actively wrestling that I call a legend. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, me personally. Now, I don't know about nobody else. I mean, that's been in the game. Okay? Like, to me, him and Edge. Okay? Actively wrestling. Christian, Edge, AJ. Because everybody else, all the girls that I love, they're retired. You know what I'm talking about? That I consider legends. The women that are great now, to me, they are great. And they're future Hall of Famers, but they're not legend status. To me, yet. No, I take it back. I give it to Natty. I give it to Natty. I'll give it to her. She's been in the thing almost 20 years. She's broken all these Guinness World Records. She was like one of the first women to wrestle in Saudi. She's definitely a legend. But I was like, but the rest of the girls, I'd be like, not yet. But like when he said you legitimize him as a solid wrestler, because I was like, did he not say he sure did? Because I was like, now mind you, he didn't wrestle Miz, and Miz is a OG and a 2-time Grand Slam champion. But I was like, I said, with Miz Holly wrestling, he's Miz, like from his persona. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, even though Roman is Roman and was the tribal chief at the time, I was like, he could have beat Roman, depending on the situation and the story and all that. Saw his thing went viral. He recorded it. I didn't know he was gonna really put it up there. He put it up there. Okay. The only other thing that like legitimized it was during the Royal Rumble. Him and Ricochet had hit each other, and then not even this year's not even this year's, but I think last year's Elimination Chamber. He like every time he stepped in the ring, he was surprising me. But for you, cause AJ versus Logan was not on my radar as one of the matches I was anticipating seeing. Okay, but it was one of the best matches of the night Matter of fact, it was one of the best matches of the 2 nights. Okay? Because the first 3 matches that night were matches I was anticipating. The Randy and Joe Hendry was a fun one. But the AJ and Logan one was, to me, surprising, which I shouldn't have been surprised. Like, I know how good AJ is. I know how good Logan is. I don't know. I think it's because Easter weekend with WrestleMania and then having a son and then all the things was a lot. And I only had like 8 hours of sleep in 3 days and I couldn't get my life together. Like, cause if I was well rested and my son didn't catch a migraine and throw up, so we missed one of the things, Easter egg hunts and stuff like that, I'd have been more zoned in. But because I was like out of it, and that's what messed me up for not watching the Raw I'm talking about now. Because that night I just slept. Like, I crashed out. Like, was knocked the hell out. And then me trying to keep up with all the stuff I didn't do last week for the next week. And then missed last Monday. And I didn't watch that till Thursday. I actually watched Monday Night Raw tonight on Monday. But I was like, he sure is. So then Gunther comes out, was talking, because they was talking about the Gunther situation, how he lost to Jey. And the crowd was chanting, "You tapped out," this, that, and third. So, I think he had grabbed Cole or something like that. And Pat went up. And he pushed Pat on the ground. Which I didn't even look at until I thought about it. Pat had all his Pat McAfee show friends behind him. So, when they popped up, when I was like, where the hell they come from? They was right there. But I'm glad they let security know what was happening. And I need to watch his show to see how he feels about being part of a storyline for the first time in like, what's it been, like 4 years? I want to know how he feels about that. I need to watch that. But then he went, I think he tried to grab for Cole again, and he went like this. Gunther choked the hell out of Pat. Okay? To the point where at first I thought it was, but I was like, oh, it's for real. That man lost color and he became full-blown red, okay, in his face. Then his friend jumped on the barricade because I was like, where the hell they come from? This the part that tripped me out, though. And remember I said y'all gotta make it look real, because y'all gotta have the people that's in production and the general manager, not just the security and stuff, come out here. Like, I need to see Adam and then see like legend Shane Helms and stuff like that, Nick, all them. I need to see them out here, right? Which they did. So very good job. But this is the thing that caught me off guard. Y'all had security, and people call future Hall of Famers and WWE champions, block Pat's friends. Okay? I think all these guys, maybe except for one, them played football professionally. Okay? You think that's why I was laughing. Because I was like, y'all think y'all could really hold these people back? I said, that's how you know that part was staged. I said, because if they really wanted to get through y'all, they would get through y'all. Okay? Like, they did that for a living. I was like, oh, and then they called him to the back. Cole was upset. That's the one thing, though, about WWE and the emotions that it brings out of you. It could be set up, and you can know it could be set up. Whether it goes overboard with the grabbing or people bleed or stuff like that, it still draws emotion out of you. Because Cole, even though he probably knew all this stuff was going to happen, because he says it's nothing that he doesn't know. The only thing that got by him in recent years was the CM Punk thing he did not know about. So it's a surprise to him. But he normally knows everything. He still had emotion. So because of that, I'm hearing the voice, and I was like, it's Joe. Joe comes out, and Pat, they was like, Cole, you can go home, this, that, and the third. Cole was like, I've been sharing my opinion for 28 years. I'm not about to go home for nothing. I think they said in the 8 years that he's been there, Cole might have missed four days. Okay? It's not even people. The higher ups have missed more days than Cole. Okay? Like, the president take more vacation than Cole. You hear me? Like, this is crazy. So, he goes out. Joe. Hold on, sorry. Joe, speaks during the match. I think it ends up being, I want to say Dom versus Penta. Dom versus Penta. This is the first time that I've watched WWE since since he started, when he was a backstage announcer, and then he got promoted to being a colorful commentator alongside Jerry the King Lawler, that Cole has not called the play-by-play. Like, he was so disheveled that Joe had to call it. I was like, that's the first time since the 90s that I remember Cole being on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he did it once or twice when Cole was going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown, because I think he was kind of like training or helping training Corey to become the play-by-play guy. And then he like sat back and took a back seat for a while and let him do his thing. And then when Corey didn't say anything, he would fill in. But I'm like, for you to not be the main play caller was crazy to me. Like, I was like, wow. Okay. So then I think it ended up being, is it Penta versus Dom? And yeah, I think it ended up being Penta versus Dom. Dom ends up keeping his thing. I forgot why. I can't remember. Shoot. I can't remember if excuse me. I can't remember if it was if JD came back that week or if JD came back the following week when they were in Kansas City. I can't remember. No, he came back because I think Finn or Carlito or one of them. I think Carlito was out there, and he tried to help, and then Finn came out and tried to help, and I think both of them got kicked out ringside, and then JD came back, and he got to stand. Like, the crowd was like thoroughly, happy and pleased and all the things. I was happy too, because I think I said, like, when he coming back? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, it ended up being Seth coming out and him talking about him out there with Paul, and him talking about him being a visionary and him winning and all the things. So then, as soon as he said, I am, Punk's music went off. My man Punk was ready to throw down. He was wrapping tape up. He didn't even have the other hand wrapped. He wrapped up his right hand, ripped off the tape, and let it stay on the ground. Came after Seth I forgot what happened. Um, no, as soon as he heard the music, because Seth had on the yellow, Seth took off the glasses, um, untucked his shirt. I said, "Oh, he mean business." So he came out, and then he saw Paul. Was about to, I think, grab Paul, start grabbing Paul, got him to the corner. Seth ended up getting him. I think he pedigreed him or stomped him or something like that. So then, doing that, I think he picked up the mic. Seth's ponytail came out. So during that time, we hear Roman's music. I said, "Oh, okay." Roman comes out real slow, takes off the shirt. I forgot what the hell he did to Seth. I can't remember if he speared him. I think he speared him. Saw Paul, Superman punch Paul. I said, "You low key deserve that." And I said, and then I was like, he deserved whatever Punk was about to do to him too, for real. It's like, you deserve whatever both of them was about to do to you. Okay. And then, and then I think somebody was gonna attack Roman. I think Punk ended up being behind Seth. Got up being behind Seth. I think Braun had speared him. So Punk was in a corner. And then I forgot how Roman got outside of the ring. But Braun ended up spearing him. And Roman couldn't breathe. Or legit couldn't breathe because he dragged him into the ring. And then Seth stomped on his head. And then that was the end of the show. And I said, "Oh, So now I was like, so Braun lost his title. Now you with Seth. So when did this conversation transpire? Because you was in WrestleMania night 1. That was 2 nights ago. When the hell did Paul or Seth come up to you and be like, "Hey, we got this situation we want you to be a part of"? Or was this all together to happen? Like whether you was still champion or not, you was gonna be part of this situation. You see what I'm saying? Like what was gonna happen with that? Cause I'm like, okay. Um, love the 3 documentaries of the women. Loved how they wanted to bring back Total Divas. They said have all the OGs and a couple newbies. But I'm like, all the OGs that were on all 6 seasons that are still there would be, if they sign Brie with a Legends contract, it'd be Brie, Nikki. They say Paige is a free agent. That's if they bring her back. So right now, currently, I'm based off current. It would be, if they sign Brie, it would be Brie, Nikki, Natalia, Naomi, Naya, and it would be Liv, because Liv was on like the last season. And then trying to think of who else was on there. Paige was on there, she's no longer there. Lana was on there, she's no longer there. Summer was on there, she's no longer there. Or Danielle, because I follow her. Eva's not on there no more. What's the girl from Australia name? God dang it, I forgot that name. My brain just iconic. That's all I could think of. They're not on there no more. Yeah, so it'll just be them. Tamina's not on TV or anything no more. So it'll just be Rhonda isn't there. Yeah, so it'll just be them. And then she was like, and bring like 2 new people. So it wouldn't be Bianca, because technically, not unless they're going to do Love and WWE aside from, Bianca wouldn't be a part of. I don't think she would be a part of that. I don't think Jey would either, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think Bianca would be, because on her days off, she's like from social media, she seems like one of the more rounded. All of them could do this, but like when she's not champion lately, she's been like home or having date night and stuff like that, or her family's always in town, or she's hanging with her friends. You know what I'm saying? But she's probably mainly home. Jade probably ain't gonna show none of her life that she don't want to show. Like, her husband is a retired baseball player. They're not gonna get into the life of their daughter. They're not gonna get into the life of her bonus baby. That her husband has an older daughter. Like, she's not gonna get into that. I feel like if it was gonna be something new, like a new stars, maybe a Tiffany. Um, Only because her and Naya. And then maybe a not Rhea. Rhea's very shy outside of her being Rhea. Um, Maybe a Maxine and maybe a Raquel. That's it. Like, I can't see no other people doing that. Like, I don't see Me Chen doing it. I don't see Zelina doing it. Maybe Zelina doing it, but I feel like Zelina and Rhea would do it if Bianca did it. And then they talked about TJ. They talked about Nia said she would love to join the tag team again, which made me sad in hindsight because I'm like, she used to be tag partners with Shayna. But she was like, now she's with Candy. She would love to be a part of the tag division. And then Trinity said she probably ain't got that much longer left. She said she wanted to have a bunch of kids, but she had the health scare. She only has one ovary. So that means you ovulate every other month. So you gotta time that, which my sister had that. My sister had like polyps on her thing. I don't know what Trinity had. My sister had polyps on her thing that they thought might be cancerous. So they took off the one ovary. So she only has one instead of two. But the thing about having that is it drops your estrogen levels. So then you'll get like probably like more hair sprouting like here and here and here, and if you don't take estrogen or something like that, all the things. And yeah, I liked it because it was cute and it was reminiscent and all the things, but like Braun showing up with Seth was crazy. I didn't expect that to happen. So the next week was even crazier. So I'm about to go try to make this video for the 28th of April. This is Monday, 21st after Raw. So I'll be back.